false flags, the destruction of this, that, you know, the loss of more personal liberties. So we just have to kind of be aware. So we're gonna be here to be teaching.
All right. Well, thanks, folks. Like I mentioned earlier, you know, this is kind of my path, is to correct government, okay? The handout that I have is gonna wake you up and take you down a rabbit hole maybe some of you don't wanna go down. The term citizen, if you look at the very first aspect in your handout here, okay? The United States is a foreign European corporation conducting trade and commerce in foreign lands, and it gives the case of statute and so forth that it was initiated in. The United States government is a corporation. When we see this flag, it's a corporation flag. It's not our true flag that doesn't have the gold fringe on it. We should be in a peace flag. But again, we're always at war because we've been at war for a very long time, since 1933 and even longer. When you look at it back down where it comes into some of the other areas, as you go through your page of documents here, I'm gonna go ahead and it gets back into the aspect of attorneys, okay? Attorneys are part of England in the bar. And when you look at the information that's in here, there's information of their own actual codes that state they do not have representation for the client. They're for the courts. Since 1967, every court in our country, in all 3,000 plus counties, have become federally commercialized, okay? It's administrative law. Why do you think they call it a court? We have basketball courts. Follow me? It's a court. When you go into the aspect, on the second aspect, on the other side, there's 25 areas there that are indisputable, okay? And if you could prove me wrong, I'd love it, okay? I've been teaching this since the 70s, and nobody's been able to prove this stuff wrong. When I first started teaching this, everybody thought I was crazy, even had a judge tell me that. It's important to know what your constitutional rights are. It even gets into the fact, and you know, and I commend all of you for all the hard efforts and stuff. When I asked for certified copies of the Bill of Rights ordinance from our county, it took me months and months and months to get it, okay? Because it's not law. Ordinances are not law. They're commercial policy, okay? It has no standing in a true court of law protected by our Constitution. When I asked it for the state to certify our county ordinance, it took them over a month and a half to even bring me the actual paperwork to get it certified. Because now I'll take this same document and I'll send it to the United States and have them verify this, okay? Once this is verified, I'm gonna hand it over to Scott and Beth, and they can utilize this in any court, okay? Because until it's authenticated, it doesn't mean crap. That's the way it works within our system. It takes a long time to get things authenticated. Sometimes it takes 3 months. We've had things that were authenticated, rejected, same situation, sent back to the United States government, because what we're doing is exposing the corruption. My dad was the very first constitutional sheriff, according to Paul Harvey, in 1958 in our country. He threw out all the federal agencies. My family left the reservation in 1925 as soon as it was legal, okay? Otherwise, they would have just killed our family. When my dad became of legal age, he ran for sheriff. And he was the first Republican sheriff in a Democrat state of New Mexico, just so you guys know, okay? And he threw the state police in jail if they wrote a ticket in his county. He kicked out Fish and Game, and if they came back, he threw them in jail as well. They sued my father. My father won in court, saying that the sheriff does have the authority, okay? I filed a suit here recently against 68 individuals, all 67 counties of sheriffs, as well as the Miami-Dade Police Department, okay, for violation of their oath of office. The federal court here in Fort Myers basically came back and said that the oath of office has no compact with each of us. Doesn't mean anything. Think of what I'm saying. This is a federal court. Okay? It's important to recognize that everything that I'm handing you here today is reality. Until we understand that a citizen is not we the people, we'll never be able to overcome where we're at, okay? We have to understand that men and women are of God, of nature, okay? A citizen is a commercial entity. And that's how it's defined in every court. Doesn't matter what state you live in, what county you're in, what city, what municipality. And so when you read this, understand that what we're going through in Texas, I'm excited about, okay? Because this is my prediction. In this decade, we will see not only the state of Texas, but all 25 states that are Republican secede. They have to. Because the United States is a corporation, and through compact, in other words, through a commercial contract, because the United States is a corporation with a commercial contract with every state, it has to be broken. The only way it can be broken is if we secede, okay? Once we secede, every state then can turn back to a true municipality where our Constitution matters, okay? Not a municipality of commercial status, but a municipality of we the people, okay? So understand that as we're moving through this, it's gonna be a tough decade. But this is gonna be a decade that each and every one of us baby boomers, okay, are gonna see some serious change. We're gonna see an economic change. Our money today, again, is fiat currency, not asset-backed currency. Our government's, since 1933 has placed bonds on every one of us. And if we were born prior to 1933, they initiated it afterwards. Those bonds are what they utilize to pay debt, okay? So if you take your birth certificate and you send it into your state and get it authenticated, send it to the United States and get it authenticated, then you have actually what they call full faith and credit, because it's a credit debit system we're at. You can utilize that full faith and credit system because the government on our generation of baby boomers placed anywhere from 650,000 to 1.2 million in bonds on each individual, each man and woman. Then they took that and put it in the stock market, sold it, traded us. We're cattle, okay? The money that they made is in the billions. When I did the research back in 2006, Florida was the only state that could actually pay off the national debt and had plenty of money extra through their CAFRs, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, where all the money is hidden, okay? Naples, Florida. Our Collier County is one of the richest counties in our nation, okay? They don't want this information let out, okay? When I file claims in federal court or county courts and I sue an individual that's in that area of political realm, I don't expect to win. I don't. I expect to get it on the record, okay? Because once it's on the record and everything switches, then I have recourse, because through fraud, we have recourse, okay? But unless you get it on the record, you don't. So, as we move forward, the security of our nation will take place, but we have to be able to be prepared. And again, I'm not one to say lock and load and be ready, but lock and load and be ready, okay? Because again, a lot of these individuals who are coming into our communities, although they might be workers, some of them have alternative motives to be destructive in our community, okay? When we left New Mexico, which is really difficult for us, because that's where all of our families were. During the riots of Antifa and all the other aspects, okay, our state placed bricks on the road. Albuquerque, the whole entire 7 miles of downtown Albuquerque got destroyed by our own police department. Think of that, okay? Our public defender received over $170,000 annually from George Soros's monies. So it's here. The corruption here, hold on. The corruption here in our community, like I said, is being played in both realms, okay? Our security isn't just because, we have aliens coming in across our border. We have child trafficking here in our community daily, We lead one of the nation's percentages of child trafficking and adult trafficking here. Our sheriff doesn't do anything about it, okay? Everybody in our communities talks, but they don't do the walk. And when they do the walk, they shake the hand, they get you to go ahead and say, yeah, you know, rah, we accomplished something. But behind the scenes, there's payoffs, setting up different areas. You know, all of our commissioners are former developers. Think of what I'm saying. Our community here, Beth and you guys, you know, communities got ruined because of what they're doing over there with the new, you know, apartments.
Yep.
We live out in Golden Gate, you know, they're gonna be trying to force, you know, water and sewer on all those individuals out there, you know, with the, bringing up through the new Vanderbilt Road. All this is occurring, you know, we have to take a stance. And so again, you know, I commend each and every one of you, and I'm a hard ass, I'll say it first, and most people, you know, either like me or hate me, and I'm okay with it, because this is my path. You know, I'm here to reveal the truth. It's in our prophecy, like I mentioned earlier. You know, all I know is we have to lean on God, our belief, okay? Lean on our brothers and sisters to have that support. And again, sometimes we have to take time off. I took about 8 months off, okay, because I had to. It's difficult, because again, when they're coming after you, you have to realize that you have family and you have to protect them, okay? So the last 8 months has been strictly protecting myself, my spouse, my friends, things of this nature. I had the sheriff's department come to my home at 8:30 at night, want to know why I filed suit. Think of what I'm saying, harassing me, okay? That to me is a threat, okay? All of you know who Ammon Bundy is? He's a friend of mine, okay? All the individuals there that are in this movement of truth aren't here because of the money. We're not here to rah and get support on our back. We're here to bring it to your attention, because our country should be free. And when they placed the Statue of Liberty in our harbor, it became a sign of not freedom. Think of what I'm saying. Liberty is when you ask permission. When you're aboard a ship and the captain says, hey, you have liberty to go to land. Okay? Every road is a waterway according to statute. It's shipping lanes. That's why you have a driver's license, because it's commercial. That's why you register your car, because it's a vessel according to law. Okay? All these things that we think we take for granted are ways to keep us down, to block us from understanding. Just like the fluoride in our water that affects our children that, you know, get insurance for free, blocks their pituitary gland, so they can't see, so they can't think, so they can't grow. They figure by the time you're an adult, like you said, who cares? You know, you're already messed up, right? It's the truth, okay? So again, when we look at our security of our nation, it's going to take more than just razor wire at the border, because the federal government is our biggest problem. And it's the biggest problem when they fund our local community. And then when our local community takes that funding and tells all of you that we're not going to receive it anymore, and then they give it to a Immokalee, what's that? Big slap in your face, right? All the effort and time that you guys put in to stop that and they give it to a Immokalee, they still get kickback. Most of you don't realize that. Same with our education system, federal funded. Well, if it's federal funded, the commercial status, yeah, they're gonna bring in LGBTQAYZ, whatever else they're gonna add to that. They're gonna bring in, you know, things that are gonna mess up our kids' heads. So again, understand, go through this, because if I go through it, it'll take 3 hours.
Yeah.
But go through it. And again, I appreciate the time just to share this with you, because it's important to know.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, So thanks. I think we got things straightened out for February 13th. We're on the road to a better understanding of the exciting times ahead and the complexities with which our once-free country has gotten itself into, but that we are gonna extricate ourselves from, either slowly or quickly. Just like you go broke, a little bit all of a sudden, get a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're there, okay? So it will happen. Don't know exactly which path it'll be. Anyway, next week,